Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Dayna Show. I'm your host, Dayna Kaplan. This is episode 43, and it was fantastic. I had a guest on today who I've been following on social media for years. Gabriel Boxer, the Kosher Guru, was here with me today in the studio. We talked about all things Jewish, all things kosher, the importance of Jewish leaders in the diaspora, the importance of being unified all over the world, Jews all over the world, and how our strength is in unity. We talked about his iconic glasses. We talked about a lot of other cute and fun things. And it was a really great conversation. I hope you enjoy it. Please like, subscribe, and follow. It helps me a lot. Am Yisrael Chai. Let's get into it. Really a huge thrill, and the fact that you made it happen, that you are on the way to the airport and you're leaving the country. I'm happy that I'm your last stop.
Happy to be here as the last stop.
Dude, how was your trip?
It was amazing. It was amazing.
How were we here for?
Flew out of New York on July 1st, landed here July 2nd, and I think it's about 7 weeks now here.
So do you live here? Do you live in New York?
I wish I lived here. I live in New York. I spend a lot of time throughout the year here. But I wish I lived here. God willing, one day soon. Not yet, but God willing, one day soon.
Well,
officially.
we're gonna get into that because you spend a lot of time here. And first of all, I have to say, like, unbelievable to meet you after all these years. I've been like a huge fan of the Kosher Guru for a long
Thank you
time.
very much.
Tell me, like, first of all, how did this whole thing begin with you? Even like from the Kosher Guru start, like.
I grew up in New York City working in the kosher food world. Fast forward many years, because at that time there was no social media. Nobody was sharing their food, journeys or experiences. Social media came out, and that was first Facebook really that I got involved with. And since I was already knee deep in the food industry and going out almost every night of the week to restaurants and restaurant openings and a lot of catering, I said, you know what? It's fun. I'm going out anyway. Let me take some pictures. People are sharing their stories. I'll share my culinary adventures, and started sharing my culinary adventures. And one thing led to another. Between Facebook and Instagram is really where I live, a little bit on YouTube. And with that being said, I just dove right into sharing my quote unquote foodie experiences. And one thing led to another, because it's really Jewish lifestyle. It's restaurants, foods, events, travel, all with a kosher flair and, foundation that I like to do and share. And I really just love giving over my experiences. I always tell everybody, I'm not a food critic. If you're a food critic, you work for the Washington Post, the New York Times, some big publication, and you get paid to be a critic. And there's really a process. And anyone out there who calls themselves a critic, will get that to another time. I just share my experiences. I enjoy life, enjoy Jewish life, Jewish culture, helping Jewish businesses and people grow and thrive. And with that, I share my experiences, and that's really it. You could take what you want from those experiences or nothing at all. And that's really what it is. Just enjoying it.
Were people paying you to do it, or you were just promoting people?
No. So there was a time when I was managing people's social media accounts when I first started, before I got into where I am right now, really in the fintech space. So I was managing their social media accounts. And with that, I do a little bit on my own Instagram, on there, a lot on this, because we're managing their accounts. But really what it was, people don't realize, once again, I'm going to talk about New York now, and really whether it's the East Coast of being Miami, where I spend a lot of time, or spend a lot more time, I spend more time in Israel. A lot of restaurants can't afford to pay people, and what they'll do is they'll barter. Oh, come for a free meal. There's so many places I don't need your free meal. I just want to come and enjoy. There are also lots of places that the food was so bad, the experience was so bad, and I felt bad. Like I didn't want to put it out there. And how can I tell them in a nice way that it just wasn't a good experience to put out there? And then if I put it out there, people will say, "Oh, we're going there because we saw it on Kosher Gurus or anyone's account." And when they go, they're like, "What is this person talking about? It's terrible. What does he know or she know?" And I was like, there are people who are doing that, and it just doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel authentic. So a lot of times I would be invited to a place and say to the owner or ownership or management, I say, "Listen, you guys are nice people, really, really nice people. but the food was terrible or the experience was terrible. I'd rather spend some time helping you grow, give you some feedback, because the biggest form of tzedakah, and this happened in my own personal life with somebody who actually became an investor of mine and we became very close friends, is helping somebody get and achieve a parnasa, a livelihood.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
I'd rather help them to grow and get better, where people will want to come and want to spend their money and want to enjoy the experience, instead of coming one time and saying this was terrible and they'll never come back again. So there were actually a lot of places when I first started doing this in the food world, because now I've transitioned a lot to Israel and Jewish advocacy and a lot more, fast forward many years later to where we are sitting here today. And I just it's just not for me. I appreciate the invite. And then also I have a regular job and regular businesses. I don't have time every single night to be running around to every single restaurant to pick and choose of what you want to experience and what I want to share with the crowd as well.
Have you ever been to eaten at Canadian restaurants in Toronto?
I have actually. My father's actually from Winnipeg, Canada. Go
Wow.
Jets, big Jets hockey fan.
Really?
Sorry, Maple Leafs or Islanders or Rangers fans out there, but big Winnipeg Jets fan. Haven't been to Winnipeg since I was about 15 years old. I haven't been to Toronto, I want to say maybe 4 or 5 years, give or take. But when I was there, I spent quite 2-3 days enjoying a lot of restaurants.
They have some good restaurants, but not a lot. And the kosher food there is really expensive. It's like you don't get a lot of bang for your buck there,
So when I was there last, and I haven't been there in a few years, if I'm drawing a blank, and then it'll come to me. There was 1 or 2 what we'll call higher end or fancier
Yeah, the
restaurants.
fancier ones are
But
really
there's a tremendous amount that I found of mid-level restaurants, a lot of shawarma places, a lot of burger joints, fast food places, salad places. There were a lot spread out across the city of, we'll call it mid-level type restaurants. Some are better than others.
When I go back there, maybe it's because I'm just so used to the portions in Israel. You get a salad here, you can't finish it.
Correct.
It's humongous.
Yes.
It's humongous. You're really full. And there it's like you get a cucumber and a tomato and whatever. Kosher food is expensive.
It is expensive, but that goes into the food cost, labor cost, a lot of other costs. But with that being said also, I always said that the worst, and once again, just my saying, the worst falafel or worst shawarma in Israel is still better than the best, whether it's Toronto or New York or Miami. So you know what? You have the food scene here in Israel in the past 10 years has exploded. What you have here in Israel on a kosher level is insane.
It's
literally insane.
It really, it's unbelievable here. I love the food
And the
here.
dairy here, you call the chalavi, the dairy restaurants, and you're talking about salads and the portions, the bowls, and just the creativity and the flavor profiles. Your vegetables here just
Can they
taste
replicate it? Is there a way, or is it something about the country that they just can't?
I think it's something about the country you just can't. I've been all over, I've been to a lot of Europe, a lot of Asia, North Africa, Western Africa. It's Israel. You cannot replicate Israel.
In any way, we're just so unique here.
Yes, you are.
We're really unique. Can you tell me a little bit about your upbringing in New York?
Grew up in
what kind of school education you had, what kind of community you...
Modern Orthodox, I guess they call it. Community. Grew up in Queens, New York. Went to yeshiva my whole life since I was 2.5 years old, from nursery school throughout, elementary and high school. A modern Orthodox co-ed Hebrew day school, I guess you would call it, for lack of a better term. I know here in Israel, there's a lot more, unfortunately, boxes where people fit into.
Yeah.
Grew up religious Zionist.
In a
loving
Zionist,
Israel.
Yeah, in a Zionist family. Yes. Was there any talk of making Aliyah? Did you guys get, obviously?
There always was the dream. Unfortunately, my parents still live in New York. Love them. Amazing parents, amazing upbringing. But a lot of times, parnasa, job, life, it just, keeps going and people haven't. I take a look at my father's parents. My mother's family has been in America for a few generations already. My father's parents left Europe in the early 1900s, before World War I, and they made it to Winnipeg, Canada. And I still, because they passed away before I was born, so I never got to speak to them, but I always want to know, what writing on the wall did they see they get out of Europe? Because what we see around the world right now is unfortunately what people are talking about on news, what was 1930s Europe, the anti-Semitism, the hatred, what's going on. So I'm very, very aware of our surroundings, the situation, and really looking deeply into making Aliyah. But at the same time, unfortunately, because my love is Israel, I'm still in America, love America, big
Yeah, didn't you
patriot.
run for senator or something?
State Senate.
State Senate.
But then it got gerrymandered. Woke up one day, I was running, and then woke up one day and there was no more district. It got split between two other districts.
Do you still have like a political dream? Do you want to get into politics?
If it happens, it happens. I always wanted to, like so many kids in America always want to be the president when you're a kid growing up. I want to make a difference. I feel that there's so many of us who have so much passion and power, and I feel each and every one of us can make a difference. And I've seen, unfortunately, so many people, when I speak to them later on in life, they just never pursued that passion, and they could have changed the path of so much in our life. And I feel that if you have that drive, you have that passion, you want to do something with it. Don't say, someone else will. We need true Jewish leadership. We need true Zionist Jewish leadership. If they say, if not now, when? If not me, who? Do it. So, not sure what level, but we'll see.
What's going on in America?
What's going on in America?
No, what is going on in America? Listen, in Israel, I'm personally torn because on one hand, I'm dealing with a lot of things here. I have kids that are fighting in the war and, just, being here, what it's like. We have siren. It's hard. It's hard for me to care about what's going on here and care about what's going on in Chutz La'aretz at the same time. I don't know how to divide my worry, but it seems to me that what's going on there is just getting worse, right?
Well, look at Toronto and Canada, keeps getting worse. I met a family, actually, it's funny, over Shabbat in the hotel we were staying at in Tel Aviv, from Winnipeg, believe it or not. And they say it's terrible over there. They're looking to make Aliyah. So in America, and I grew up in New York City in the borough of Queens. I live in Nassau County right now. It's a county outside of New York City. We have an amazing executive, a Nassau County executive, which I guess was like your to the mayor. He happens to be Jewish. His name is Bruce Blakeman. Our Nassau County Police Department is one of the best in the country. We have a great police commissioner. With that being said, I do feel very, very safe where I live, with what's called the Five Towns community of Nassau County.
Why do you feel safe? Is there security or?
There is lots of security. The police are very, very proactive and very supportive. You walk down the main street in, we'll call it Cedarhurst, there's 5 communities. I live in the 5 towns. One of the towns, Cedarhurst, you walk down, it's like walking down, say, Ben Yehuda Street. And every lamppost, there's an American flag, Israeli flag, American flag, wow. Israeli flag, put up by the municipality. That's the community we live in. Now, I'm not going to say there were never any incidents. There were, but the police were very swift in taking care of it, handling it to the letter of the law. So we do feel very, very safe there. But I did grow up, as I said, in Queens. And my entire life, I always wore my kippah, tzitzis, traveled the subways, the buses, never thought twice. I thought more about crime or not feeling safe, but not about anti-Semitic crime or those type of feelings. Now, at my age, I'm afraid to take the subway. When I do take the subway, I still do wear my kippah, but I look around. I'm always looking behind me, looking to the side, seeing what's going on. I'm much more aware.
You wouldn't wear like a Magen David or yarmulke on the subway?
I do. Well, I don't wear a Magen David. I just don't wear a necklace. Yeah, I would if I did wear one, but I do wear my kippah. I never take my yarmulke off. I leave it on all the time. I've traveled a lot. I was just in India, and I was just in Abu Dhabi. I wore my kippah the entire time, my yarmulke out the entire time. In the past few years, the only place I did not personally feel safe and actually wore a baseball hat was in Paris. I really did not feel safe there. Might just be psychological, but that was the feeling I had. And I made sure to bring a baseball hat, and I wore one. But now, with what's going on in New York City, I have different feelings than I had when I grew up as a kid and loved and felt free as anybody in New York City. There's a lot more crime. There's a lot more anti-Semitic crime. There's a lot more Jew hatred incidents going on all over the city and in a lot of places in America. And it really is that progressive, liberal, woke mentality and an agenda that I think some bad actors are behind, that are pushing their agenda and paying people to go to these rallies, and are paid agitators that are causing a lot of, we'll say, bad things in America and around the world.
What do you think it's gonna take for American Jews to wake up and do something about it? I mean, are they doing something better? You said before that we need Jewish leaders. Who are the Jewish leaders now?
Great question. Great question. Pre-Holocaust Europe, you had a lot of people who saw the writing on the wall and got out. You saw it. I was reading some history of the Aleppo Jews, the Syrian Jews, Jews from around the Middle Eastern states, how really Jewish people within the Middle Eastern and Arabic states were more or less cleansed. There's only a sprinkling, if any, left in certain communities that were flourishing many years ago and pre-1967. There are going to be people who see the writing on the wall, that see that vision, and are currently doing their best to make Aliyah, to get out. But unfortunately,
There are people?
yes, I don't have the statistics. I don't know the statistics, but there's an Aliyah flight, I think, landing today or tomorrow from Nefesh B'Nefesh from America with hundreds of people on it. I don't know what it equals to families, but hundreds of people on it making Aliyah. Aliyah is up tremendously percentage-wise over the past 2-3 years. Tremendously. There are more and more people looking into, starting their paperwork, buying and looking to buy property, to have a place here to come to in Israel, to sort of get out of Galut, to get out of the exile. They see the writing on the wall. But just like pre-Holocaust, there are lots of Jews who are just blinded. They don't see. If we take a look, go back to our history coming out of Egypt, only 20% of the Jews, I believe it is, actually got out of Egypt. We'll stay, it's better here, don't worry. And they all perished. It's the same thing happens throughout history.
If you're gonna stay, though, stay and fight. Like, stay and try to make things better. And I feel like people are just like, we just don't want to make any noise. We're just going to stay quiet. We're going to, take off our yarmulke, like just try to fit in.
In the end, fitting in and assimilating, we've seen that doesn't work. They hate us even more. But at the same time, we are guests. The Jewish people are guests in a foreign land. We have to be respectful. We have to be thankful. Dayna Malchusik, we have to respect the laws of the land and the government. And you could see that in America, so many Jews have become politicians, have helped society in so many ways, in a positive way. But with that being said, who's our real leader? We don't have one. A lot of us will look to a rabbi, we'll look to the Prime Minister of Israel, certain members of Knesset, certain people have spoken up around the world. But if you ask an American Jew who the leader is of the Jewish people in America, there's not one answer. We have leaders, we have rabbinical leaders, we have our communal leaders, we have said politicians who we look up to. But I can't tell you, to answer your question with one direct answer, that there's one leader. We don't have one in America.
What are the rabbanim saying? What do they tell their congregation? Like, what kind of support? What kind of guidance?
There's that famous, old Jewish, saying: "Ask one Jew, you get three different. Ask, 3 Jews, you get 5 answers," or whatever that saying. How the exact wording goes, I don't know what they're saying, because you have different communities, different rabbis. You have Sephardic, Ashkenazic. You have, super to the right, super to the left, in the middle. Just like here in Israel, there's different ways that we identify as which community we belong to. And I'm sure even here where you live, there's how many different synagogues, how many rabbis in the community. And you could go to your rabbi, he'll tell you A. You go to another rabbi, he'll tell you B. Both are right, and they're giving the guidance that they are giving the guidance for their community and their kehillah, their community congregation. But I don't think in America there is one uniting message. The united message is to fight anti-Semitism. But then how do you fight it? There's so many different answers to that question of how do you fight it.
So I have a question for you.
Go for it.
In America, especially the liberals, they're very, very meduyak. They're very specific about names, of how you call people: he, her, him, it, whatever.
All the pronouns.
Right? All the pronouns. And very, very careful about calling, black people black and the all of that crap. When it comes to Jews, they have no filter. Why is that? Why is it allowed?
In the past few years, we could argue 1, 2, 3, 4. In the past few years, it became acceptable to have what we call Jew hatred. It became acceptable upon society to blame the Jew
Why?
more and more. It's this real disease of anti-Semitism that really rears its head every, people say 75 years, 50 years, if we go throughout history. Spanish Inquisition, before and after, pogroms, crusades, the Holocaust. There's always a time when anti-Semitism, we might think, has been, we'll call it, healed. It hasn't. It's been, you gave it like a vaccine for a little bit. It went to sleep for a little bit. But after X, whatever that
It's always
X is,
late
how
to-
many, right,
Yeah.
X many years, it rises up again, puts its head forward, and it's vile and becomes more vile all the time. And now, with the amount of social media that we have, and it goes viral throughout the world, blame the Jew. We could see what happened in Gaza when Hamas bombed its own, a while ago, bombed its own hospital. It killed, all of a sudden, the world. Israel bombed. And we know afterwards that it wasn't Israel that bombed the hospital. It was actually Hamas's own missile. And it really didn't kill hundreds of people. They did it to themselves. But once those first headlines, that false narrative, those first headlines are out, it's out. And you can never put it back into Pandora's box once it's out. It's opened, it's out.
That drives me crazy because people are not fact checking and they don't care. All they have to hear is something negative about Jews or Israel and they believe it.
I just took a ride I think it was Wednesday or Thursday, down to the Kerem Shalom border crossing with the Deputy Foreign Minister, Sharon Haskell, and a group of diplomats from around the world. The ambassador of Panama was there, ambassador of Nepal, ambassador of Denmark, a whole bunch of other ambassadors from around the world, to really explain and show us facts on the ground, all the humanitarian aid going into Gaza. Now, we could agree to disagree on all the aid and how it's being handled, what's going on, but the amount of trucks, pallets of food that is going in on a daily basis is tremendous. It's insane. Now, what we learned firsthand and saw firsthand is that the UN and UN groups that are being run and controlled by Hamas are not picking up those trucks. They're letting it rot because they want to give a narrative that that's not going in. So, of course, America started their own aid distribution sites. Other NGOs are distributing their sites, and Hamas is even terrorizing them and antagonizing them and killing people, and the world is not speaking up. There's no starvation in Gaza. There's no famine in Gaza. For the most part, most of the adults and people in Gaza eat Ozempic. They're giving so much food. And Israel is doing everything they can to feed their own enemies. Tell me what other war in the world and where the enemy attacked and then we're fighting for our survival on a defensive attack that those people are feeding their enemy.
Why?
Are the Russians doing it to Ukraine?
Drives me nuts. It drives me nuts. I say the exact same thing. They're our enemy. Like, we shouldn't feed them at all. We shouldn't send any humanitarian aid, and we should have bombed the whole place to pieces on October 8th.
They are responsible for their own people, and they're responsible for their own actions. Now, we could go into October 7th. I was hearing this on October 7th. I still remember that entire day and days after vividly. And the pictures that came out and videos that came out of the Bibas twins and their mother being abducted back into Gaza. When you look at those pictures and those videos, who abducted them? Were there soldiers in uniform, or were they civilians in polo shirts and jeans? Take a look at what's going on. The only time, because people talk about, you're killing civilians or the civilian population there, the only time I've ever seen Hamas in costume like it's Purim is, unfortunately, when they put on those silly shows to show the world when they give back someone that they abducted and they're releasing a hostage. All of a sudden they have uniforms. But if you see every other video going on, they put on a costume of press, journalists, humanitarian aid, a citizen in jeans and a polo shirt or a t-shirt. That's not reality of how you're supposed to act as a government or people. What they're doing is, that is their reality, that they are literally putting out a false narrative, a false message. And it's so crazy that it's terrorism. These are not, yes, they were elected by these people. Elected. This is who they elected, and this is who they are. This is who they are. Barbarians.
If you were running things in Israel, would you stop the humanitarian aid and would you just total Gaza right away?
So first of all, it's very easy from us on the outside to give our opinion on that. I do know that once you're in the minutia of politics and international law and politics and coalition and so on and so forth, it's a lot different. But I do know that my thought process is not feeding your enemy, not giving in to your enemy. The enemy right now is holding Jews, Israelis, and foreign workers that they abducted as well, illegally, and kidnapped. The Red Cross has enough time and money on their hands to send aid. I saw pallets and pallets, trucks of Red Cross items going in. The Red Cross is there working with Hamas and their people of Gaza. But yet the Red Cross cannot do anything to get medicine and make sure that the Israelis are okay, that they're being held according to international, quote-unquote, laws properly.
Well, we see they're not.
We see they're not and being tortured. So they're torturing our people, yet we have to take care of them. We need to win the war. Yes, we want to get all of our hostages released and back to Israel. Every single life, body, everything. We understand, unfortunately, not all are alive, so we want their bodies for proper burial and to give proper closure to their families. We want the people back here to their families. But at the same time, they attacked us on October 7th, brutally. What they did, nobody in their right mind should be supporting them and on their side if you really are a moral person. If you're anything that is a human, Western civilization did not raise anybody to do that and to take the side of people who do that. So with that being said, take a look at World War II. We go into one of, the greatest wars in the world, and so many strategic playbooks have been written based on what happened on World War II. They bombed everybody, everything, whether it was a British bombing, the French, the Americans. You win the war, and we have to win the war. You know what? War isn't pretty. We know that. Unfortunately, coming as an American, we know my father served in the U.S. Army during Korean War. He was never sent over, but he served in the Army during the Korean War. We unfortunately know what happened in the Vietnam War. You do what you need to do to win the war. And right now, if we're trying to win the war, but yet we're trying to
appease
everybody, I don't know how that works.
I don't either.
I hope it does work. I hope it does for our sake, but I don't know how it works.
I don't understand why Israel, well, I do understand it because we need the support from the United States. We can't make decisions on our own. We have to ask permission to do things.
But so many times, President Donald Trump gave the green light and said, destroy Hamas, take them all out. And we didn't take that green light and drive through the light. We just stood there like it was still yellow or red.
Biden was in power in the beginning.
Correct, which was terrible.
Which was terrible. But do you think that Israel could survive without the support of the United States?
Yes.
Militarily?
I do. When we are... Now, once again, we're very grateful for all the aid and military equipment that the U.S. sells to us. Remember, there's aid money that comes in, and we have to buy the items back from the U.S., which helps their economy and their businesses. There is a rhyme, a method to the madness and everything. At the same token, we as Israel have to learn to be self-sufficient, have to be in the future self-reliant on our own military and our own military industries, that God willing going forward, I don't know what's happening behind the scenes, but I hope that we're doing everything in our power to build our own infrastructure for everything, to not be reliant on other nations. We know what happened in the past, but with our first temple and our second temple, the Batei Mikdash, that when we're reliant on other countries that came in or helped us, we see what happened. We need to be reliant on ourselves. We have to have a strong Jewish identity and strong Jewish strength. And we must lead and talk from strength. So right now, whether we agree to disagree or disagree to agree, Israel does take a lot of foreign aid from America. I think it's very nice, and thank you very much. But I think for us to be self-sufficient and to have enough strength where we will write our own destiny, our own future, we have to be reliant on ourselves and do what's best for Israel and the Jewish people around the world. Because with a strong Israel, the Jewish people are strong around the world and can be free without the fear of anti-Semitism. And on the same token, right now, what Israel is fighting, we're not fighting just the war for Israel. We're fighting the war for Western civilization, for humanity, because Hamas, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, this whole, Islamic caliphate, it always starts with the Jews, but they're not going after only the Jews. They want to destroy the entire Western civilization. We see what's happening with the Druze in Syria right now. And the Druze, if you go through the Druze communities and you see videos that are coming out, what are they doing? They're flying Israeli flags. They're flying makeshift. If you look at it, they painted makeshift Israeli flags in their community because they know the truth. They know the reality. They're killing Alawites. They're killing Christians in Syria. The world is quiet. But when a Jew stands up for self-defense, the world goes crazy. It's like a disease. Like what fetish does the world have with the Jews? Explain to me what fetish the world has to the Jewish people and why we can't fight back. It's self-defense. But also, you seem like a very smart person. You know what's going on in politics in the world. What's going on in Africa, where Muslims are killing Christians, and yet the world is quiet. Nobody says anything.
We're just the most special. Everybody loves us. Everyone loves us. We're the most popular.
The most popular love-hate relationship.
Yeah.
But as they say, no Jews, no news.
That's
so
right.
No one's looking around the world.
A whole bunch of my guests said that no Jews, no news. It's crazy. It's like we're held under a microscope for every single thing that we do. It's hard.
And I think we just have to strengthen Jewish education. Here in Israel, we have so much history. We take a look at where we come from, Judea and Samaria. When the Jewish people crossed over into Israel, they set up the Mishkan in Shiloh, in Judea and Samaria. Hebron was the capital of Israel during King David's time before it moved to Jerusalem. The first real estate deal in the Torah was Abraham buying a burial site to bury his wife, and then, our forefathers and mothers are buried there. We have to see where we come from and be proud of it. Yes, Israel's an amazing place, and we love Tel Aviv, Netanya, Haifa, Modi'in, amazing cities to live and thrive and cherish and have such an amazing time. But I think we as Jews have to strengthen our education of where we come from and strengthen our country. And I believe a lot of that starts with Judea and Samaria. And if the world sees us as strong, powerful Jews and that we're not ashamed, we're not embarrassed, then they will see that we're strong and will stop coming after us as well.
How did you get in touch with Yehuda v'Shomron? Like, what's your connection to Yehuda v'Shomron? Besides what you just said now, I see you talk about it a lot. You're friends with Josh Haston. He was here also.
Ah, yes, very nice.
Yeah. What's your interest in Yehuda v'Shomron?
So I grew up in America, as you asked me what my background was.
Yeah.
It's very funny. I say I'm a typical American, typical modern Orthodox, Zionistic, Jewish, American patriot from America. Love America, love Israel because it's the Jewish homeland. And always knew, growing up, I've always learned about different communities. To me, it didn't make a difference whether it was Tel Aviv or Efrat, whether it was the Binyamin or Haifa. It was Israel. I came to Israel for my gap year. After high school, I came to spend a year in yeshiva here.
Where'd you go?
I went to yeshivat Or Yerushalayim, known as OJ, which is in Beit Meir. It's not really there anymore in what it was many years ago.
Okay. Wait, how old are you?
45.
Oh, wow, you're a kid.
Yes, I'm a kid. I feel I'm old. You're a kid. I'm a kid. We're all kids over here. Kids at heart.
Okay.
And I spent a lot of Shabbosim in the Gush. Spent a lot in Efrat. We had a family friend in Aliyah. Spent a lot in Efrat. And whenever we went on Tiyulim to different communities in Judea and Samaria, something just spoke to me. Something felt so real over there. Something felt like we belong there, that we come from there. And it was just that little spark in my neshama, in my soul, that always burnt. And every time I was there, the flame would get bigger and bigger and bigger. Met the people, loved the communities, loved that this is where our forefathers and mothers are from and came to. And when we came to Israel first, back when we came as a nation into Israel, something always spoke to me about it, loved it. And every time I'd come to Israel, I'd learn about a different community, visit a different community, whether it was in Har Hebron, Binyamin, the Shomron, fell in love with the people. I always felt that it was so genuine. It just felt so real. And I said, I'm all in for Judea and Samaria. It's really, really what it was, just learning about it, learning about the history, learning about, the land. And then also what I have seen is that when we as Jews are strong Jews and are passionate Jews and speak the truth and what we believe in, the other side, oh, no, 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 no. Judea and Samaria, we want that. It's ours. I mean, it's yours. Open up the Bible. It's right there. It's ours. If you look at what's going on in the world, that if we look about, we talk about history, and then we talk about pre-1967, that it was Jordan. Jordan had military control over it. And when we liberated our own land, all of a sudden the world wakes up. Oh, no, 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 strong Jew. No, 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 that's not yours. It's not your, what do you mean it's not ours? It's our land. Even that side of the river is also ours. We know where Ephraim and Menashe and what, where our tribes really were and everything, where our lands were allocated. We have to understand that it's our land. And people talk about, oh, I won't cross over there, I won't go there. But they go to the Kotel. Where was the Wailing Wall pre-67? On what side was it on? People don't realize the history. And I think once we have to really understand the history and where we come from, we have to understand that we need a strong Israel for all of Israel and all the Jewish people. I always tell everybody, you're Israeli, you're Jewish, and also we have a lot of amazing Israelis who are Christian, who are Muslim, who are the Jews community here is, the more I learn and meet the Jews members of the community, the more I'm in awe of what they have given and what they do for Israel, the economy, our people, our nation. They serve amazing in the IDF. It really, really is amazing to see them fighting side by side. It doesn't make a difference if you're to the right, to the left, religious, not religious, you're on this level, that. I always say, whatever madriga you're on, that's between you and HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you and God. Me and you, we have to learn to love and respect each other. And once we have that true love and respect for each other, I think we will grow as a people, as a nation, and as a country. Yes, there's a lot of politics. Yes, there's a lot of unfortunate divisiveness, and we all have opinions. You might like schug. I have bad heartburn, so I don't like schug. And it might be the best thing, but I can't, stomach it. So for me, I don't eat it. But we have to, appreciate that we have difference of opinions, difference of flavors and tastes. And once, I know it's easier said than done. I really know it's easier said than done, but we have to look deep in ourselves to appreciate ourselves, to have common respect and mutual understanding of ourselves. Because we saw after October 7th, when we have Achdut as a nation, as a country, we're much stronger, and the world looks at us in a different way and respects us differently when we can respect ourselves. And when we do not respect ourselves, and when we are internally fighting and destroying ourselves from within, the world goes, look at those Jews. They can't get along with themselves.
During the Hafganot.
Which was terrible.
Yeah, what did you think about the Hafganot yesterday?
I think it was terrible. Let me be very clear. I want every hostage released. I want every hostage living and the body, like I said earlier, released and brought back. I want to win the war. We have to know what the goals of the war is. And we want to win the war. We want to destroy Hamas. We want to rid ourselves of this terror.
And we don't want any more kids to be kidnapped.
Or killed, or soldiers killed, or innocent people killed. Correct. We want to live peacefully within our land. We want to live. We want to enjoy life. I'm sure you want to enjoy life.
Get out of the loop. We want to get out of the loop.
Unfortunately, I do think that what they call the Kaplanists have taken over that whole movement. And it's an anti-Bibi, anti-government movement now. It's nothing to do with the bring them home that was originally started, which was beautiful. And yes, the onus shouldn't be on us to bring them home. It should be to release. We didn't take them away. They have to release them. And we have to fight, unfortunately, to do that. But we also have hundreds of soldiers that were killed in battle to protect Israel. We have to understand, they did not fight for naught. There was a reason why they fought. It hit me. I remember going down for so many years. We go down to Otef Aza, the Gaza envelope, and the communities down there. I wrote many times in the areas, and there's up in north and other areas also. And I never thought of it before. October 7th. We're looking at all these bomb shelters, sponsored by this organization, that organization, and painted with, these superheroes and Finding Nemo and this and that and whatever else. Like, oh, wow, it's so beautiful. We have this bomb shelter and that bomb shelter. When did we become a society ingrained in a culture of victimhood where, oh my God, it's so beautiful. They're firing missiles at us. Let's run to the shelter instead of fighting back and stopping the missiles, stopping having to run and to hide in fear. We should be on the offensive, not on the mentality of victimhood. We cannot be victims anymore. And unfortunately, we're victims of our own politics here. We're, oh my God, look, it's so beautiful. Let's get more bomb shelters. Let's put more bomb shelters. And don't get me wrong, unfortunately, we need them because of the reality that is on the ground for so many years. But the same token, since when are we, immortalizing the victimhood of it when we should be fighting to rid ourselves of those fears and actual reality of terror? Think about it.
Do you think it's possible?
I do. I don't think it's going to happen in 24, 72 hours. I think it's going to take time, but I do think it's possible. I do think it's possible.
Do you think that the hatred for the Jews from our neighbors is ever going to end? We're surrounded by
I'm
enemies.
going to look you right in the eyes and I'm going to tell you no. And I'll tell you why. Because it talks about it in the Torah. It talks about it in Tanakh and all of our, our great scholars and rabbis and sages throughout the years. Anti-Semitism is embedded in their psyche, whether it's, out in the open in public or they push it down, deep down inside. And we have X amount of years we speak about of, beautiful and peace and shalom. But I don't think it will ever fully disappear. I don't. People talk about when the times of Mashiach comes and, the final Geula, redemption. I'm not a rabbi. I'm not a scholar. I am just going to say, if you're asking me for my opinion, I think it has always been there, as we have seen. It will always be there to some extent. But we do see that when we are proud, strong, united Jews, they respect us more for who we are, and the world will respect us. The world governments will respect us. But when we play the victim and we are always running to those bomb shelters and running on the defense, they will not, because they know they could take advantage of us.
You started off as the Kosher Guru, and now you're an advocate for Israel, and it's a really hard job, and it must take a lot out of you, nafshit, from your soul to do it. How are you handling it all? Like you talk and you're visiting and you're speaking to people and you're advocating and how does that affect you?
That's a loaded question, because when I did start,
Be honest.
I'm going to be very honest. When I did start my Kosher Guru account, as I explained to you, it was really kosher food related, restaurants, travel, Jewish lifestyle, positive, having fun, sharing. I love to travel. I love to go to restaurants. I love to enjoy life. And it was a great experience. The past few years, especially with the onset of, unfortunately, more and more anti-Semitism in America, my Jewish advocacy sparked even more. I always had a love for Israel, as we're all aware. But my Israel advocacy started more and more as well, and it really has taken over. I still try and sprinkle in my fun travel and kosher food. It really has taken over my life because I do have a regular job as well. I am a partner in a fintech company. I got to, pay the bills, pay the mortgage, yeshiva bills, everything else, and to be able to pay for my travels and what I do and love. But unfortunately, thank God my business partner is very supportive and he understands. He has a daughter that just joined the Israeli army, so he's very proud and loves what I do as well. And we love him and his family, and that his daughter who just joined the army as well. I think she just finished basic training a few weeks ago. But with that being said, it really has encapsulated my being and engulfed my entire life, where it does affect my business, I'm going to be honest with myself, does affect family, business, where I have let things fall to the wayside and fall to the side, missed deadlines, missed things that I was supposed to be at and do, whether it be family or business meetings. But I do believe that my calling is to step up and to speak out. And I tell everybody, I don't care if you have 0 followers, you have a voice, you have neighbors, friends, if you're not on social media, if you're on social media, you have 1 follower or millions or anywhere in between, it doesn't make a difference. We each have a voice. We each have the opportunity to speak up and speak out for the Jewish people, for humanity and Western civilization, and for Israel. And I believe we all should do it. And if I talk about it, but don't do it, then what am I?
It's a huge responsibility.
It is. You have the responsibility. I have. We all have it. And I feel even what you do with your podcast and everything that you speak, when I see how passionate you are, and I see just from your face right now, when you speak about Israel, when you speak about your children serving in the army, you speak about, I believe we have a lot of the same beliefs and thought processes. You have to speak up, because if you don't, who else will? But if we want other people to, and if we don't do it ourselves, who are we?
Totally. This is not easy for me. It's a big project, and emotionally it's hard for me as well. But
And for you, it takes time, editing,
yeah,
putting out,
yeah, it's
uploading, downloading, whatever.
it's a big thing. But really feel like if, like you said, if I don't do it, who else is going to do it? And there's so much negativity on the internet.
And if you speak to your friends and family, you want them to do it, but they say, hey, you're not doing it.
Yeah, but I feel like the positive is a brighter light than the negative. All you need is a small light to make a difference, and it makes light, like it lightens up all the darkness. And that's what I'm doing. And I hope that it's making a difference. Especially, I want it to be for the Yidden. I want it to be for the Jewish people. I want them to feel proud of who they are. It's like, how many hits can you take? Their self-esteem really goes down. So that's what I'm trying to do. Now, I have a personal question for you.
Okay.
That's not related to Israel.
Okay.
How many pairs of glasses do you have?
Give or take, just under, I haven't counted in a while, but about 150.
Holy crap.
Yes. And they're all prescription.
They're all prescription?
Yes.
What's the deal with that?
I got into it a few years ago, actually almost 12 to 15 years ago now. Loved it. I just thought it was very cool to match, glasses. I like style. Although today I'm traveling, so I'm very, tame today, just a regular white polo shirt and whatever. But I love glasses, and glasses is one of the things that speak to me, just to how I could, of who I am, my personality. I have fun ones, funnier ones, funky ones, more serious ones. If I, going more to a real serious business meeting. But I love them. I got really into it. And I usually, when I go for a pair of glasses, I usually walk out with anywhere from like 5 to 10 new pairs at a time sometimes.
Really? Am I the only one who asks you that?
No, I get it a lot, actually.
Yeah?
Because everyone sees when I'm posting, when they see me, it's always a different pair of glasses. So I make the joke, you change your clothes every day, I change my glasses as well every day.
Wow, it's great. I love it. The most unique thing about you is the most special part about you.
Thank you.
I love it. What's your favorite part of being in Israel? What do you love the most about it here?
Just being here. That's a hard question. Just being here. Being here, feeling, I feel so prideful, so proud here. I feel I could be the Jew who I want to be. I walk around, I don't feel embarrassed. I don't have to look over my shoulders. There's something special about being here in the land. You feel it. You really, really do.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It really is. You meet different people all the time. You speak to people and they'll talk to you back. And you're like, within 10 seconds, best friends. Best friends are inviting you to the house for Shabbat, dinner for a meal. It's amazing how friendly this country is. And it doesn't make a difference. Yes, nothing is perfect in life. We know nothing is perfect in life. And we could talk about politics like we have and other things within Israeli culture. But there's something so special about being here. Anyone needs help, you're here to help them. God forbid someone's stuck on the side of the road, you stop and you help them. Someone asks you for directions. I've seen people that they'll go out of the way just to walk them to where they're going. We're such a special and unique religion, people, community, country. You just get a feeling when you're here, and I love that feeling.
Yeah, there's something it's very connecting. As soon as you get off the plane, like I remember after I made Aliyah, I was so happy that I wouldn't have to leave. When I passed by the airport, I'm like, thank God I don't have to get out of here. I love being here. I love taking into consideration.
I'm jealous.
Yeah.
I wish I could say I'm working on it.
So what is it going to take for you to move to Israel?
I'm working on it. I'm seriously working on it.
What's holding you back?
What's holding me back? I have 2 younger daughters who are still in school, and to take them out at the ages that they are a little complicated with the education that they need for certain situations.
Okay.
So that's really right now the only thing holding me back. So what I am doing, and every time I'm here, I look at different communities where I want to buy a house or an apartment where I want to do. So I am setting all the groundwork in motion to hopefully very soon to be able to officially make Aliyah, officially live here. I hope sooner than later. But that's why I spend my summers here. I work remotely, spend my summers here, got involved with a lot of organizations for Israel, got involved with various doing good for Israel here, whether it be politically, organizationally, and just sharing on social media, podcasts, news, so on and so forth. But I'm doing everything I can to really give over and instill my deep love of Medinat Eretz Yisrael to the Jewish people, for Klal Yisrael here in Israel and around the world. And God willing, one day soon, I'll be able to call Israel my home.
Do you try to get people from Chutz La'aretz to move here too?
So that I still live in Israel, it's very hard for me to tell someone else to go move there if I'm not there yet. I do explain to them that Aliyah is important, and I will making Aliyah, and that I feel that, yes, in a way that we all have to think, what is our future? Is our future here, or is our future in Israel? Is our future there, or is our future in Israel? As a Jewish people, where do I feel as a Jewish people will feel safest? And I truly believe myself, I feel safest here in Israel as a Jew. Even with the 7 or 8 fronts, because they call the social media the 8th front, 7 fronts that we're fighting between, Gaza, Lebanon, Iran, the Houthis, Syria, this and that. With everything going on in the world, I feel safest here in Israel. I do. And I've seen it many times when the red alerts go on and everybody, they don't ask you, are you this type of Jew? Are you even Jewish? They're helping you get to the mamad, to the war room. There's...
this room is a mamad.
I'm looking around. I didn't see that. I wasn't sure. Yeah, I see that now.
It's our mamad.
Great. So if the red alert goes off, we're here already. I keep recording.
It happened to me yesterday.
Yes, it happened. I was actually in Tel Aviv yesterday. We all had to run and everything else.
Yeah.
But with that being said, there is no safer place for a Jew than for a Jew in Israel. And I truly believe that. As much as I love America, and I'm a proud patriot, I love the USA. I love America. I love New York. I love being a patriot. I love being an American citizen. But especially if you ask me where I feel safest with everything going on in the world, I feel safest in Israel.
I also, I want to go on a vacation, and I think to myself, where would I go? Like, where would I feel safe as a Jew? It's crazy that I have to think that way, but where would, not United States, not Canada, for sure not Canada. There's a whole bunch of different countries now. Australia, you can't go to Australia, right? It's like,
I don't know if you heard the news, but they're even not allowing elected officials. And Simcha Rothman, who's an MK, was invited by the Jewish community, I believe of Melbourne. His visa was approved 2-3 weeks ago, if I'm following the story correctly. And he was going to speak to the Jewish community. Antisemitism, they were going to show him, attacks on some shuls, what's going on, speak to the community. All of a sudden last night, they voided his permit in and banned him for 3 years. A publicly elected official who's part of the government here is now banned from Australia. And they keep banning more and more people, Jews, into Australia.
So how is that happening?
How is that democracy?
How is that happening? That's their government that's doing it.
Correct.
So what is it? Their government is anti-Semitic?
I can't tell you I'm an expert on Australian political affairs, but what I'm understanding as what's being told by me, there was only 1 or 2 before the big march on that bridge for that pro-Pally march the other day or a week or so ago in Australia. They said that only happened 1 or 2 times before, and it went up all the way up to the Supreme Court in Australia, and because it was liberal, left, progressive judge, they allowed it, and they couldn't believe that they allowed it. Australia's being taken over by the pro-Palestinian, that whole, movement, and it's scary because sooner or later Australia will be lost as well. Democracy, that's not democracy. When you are banning a government, a democratic government, a member of the parliament, member of Knesset was democratically elected. Now you could agree to disagree with him, you could like him or not. I happen to like him a lot and love him. But with that being said, Australia is banning democratically elected officials, Jewish, Israeli. There was Hillel Fuld, who I know, I grew up with Hillel in Queens, New York, know him since I'm a child. You had him on your show also. Banned from Australia. Also used his American passport because he's American. Banned from Australia because he speaks up and for and out for the Jewish people and for Israel. Censorship? You're trying to put only one agenda in place and you call yourself a democracy? That is not democracy.
Where do you think we're headed? The world is headed.
Dark times. Honestly, dark times.
And it's not just for Jews. It's for everyone that's living in those countries that's not
Correct.
a Muslim.
And they don't realize that yet, because first they came for us, or they're coming for us, and then what we see going on in parts of Africa, in Syria, with the Christians and with the Jews. We're the easy target. We're the easy target because we're such a small population. It's a numbers game. We're an easy target. But we're not the only target. And the world has to wake up and see what's really going on. And the craziest part is you see some of at these protests, you see the people protesting of what they identify as and on what group they identify as. Do they not realize that those groups are banned or illegal in Gaza and other parts of the world that they're advocating for, and that they would be killed and jailed? How does that make sense?
How does that make sense?
It doesn't. We're living in an upside down world. I always say a lot of this craziness happened during COVID. And I say COVID started, a lot of the outbreak of COVID around the world, at least I know in New York, started on Purim. And we talk about Purim Minahapachu, everything's upside down. I say everything just became upside down during the start of COVID and hasn't rectified itself yet. It's just getting crazier and crazier and crazier within the world. It's crazy.
I think in the end, most of the Jews, the smart ones anyway, are going to come move to Israel, which is the safest place for a Jew to be. And we are going to bring the Geula to the rest of the world.
Amen, God willing.
I mean, we're going to be the only ones who are united enough to stand up against the devil.
Which is crazy, but we have to do it.
We
have to do it.
You know what? I can't believe that this is happening in our lifetime. You know, like my grandparents were Holocaust survivors. And like, you know, you get used to the nice Canadian lifestyle and everything, and you think that everything is hunky-dory.
You get comfortable.
Yeah, you get comfortable, and you're like, okay, it was in the past, but it'll never happen again. Like, that was just back then. It was old times and whatever. Were we just naive?
I think it's a little bit more than that. But yes, we were and still are very naive. But if you take a look at throughout history, as I mentioned earlier, we become too complacent, too relaxed, too naive. And it's like God gives us a little, like, you know, patch. We start assimilating. We start thinking that, oh, if we assimilate, they'll be our friends. They'll like us now. God gives us the patch. You're a Jew. Know who you are. Be a proud Jew. Be a strong Jew. And I think it's that patch that we got. It's a time to wake up. It's time to realize we need a strong Israel, a strong Jewish people. And we have to, you know, when we're in Sefer Devarim right now, you know, in the weekly portions, and God gives us, you know, a blueprint of what has to be done when we come into Israel. We need a strong, safe Israel. And if we do that, God says, here's the blueprint. And if we don't do that, we know what happens. History does repeat itself.
How do you think the government sees that message? The government of Israel.
It's a very tricky question because, you know, in the government, we have the coalition, and then right now the left, who's not on the coalition. And I do think since October 7th, there has been much more achdut within even the right and the left. But we have, unfortunately, people in the government who are anti-religious. Now, I always say, I don't care what, I shouldn't say I don't care. Everyone cares for the fellow Jew. But whatever level of Judaism you're on, I truly believe that's between you and God, and we have to respect each other. But when there are elements within the government of the state of Israel who are anti-religious, anti-Judaism, it's an issue. And it's a scary thing that you can have in Israel Jewish people and people in the government who are against religion, against Judaism. Now, we have to all respect each other, and we are living in a democracy, and it's the state of Israel, and I respect and understand that. But we still have to have mutual understanding and respect for each other. Politics plays politics. Everyone's always, you know, worried first about keeping their terms, keeping their coalition. They don't want the government to fall because they want to, you know, serve their full terms. So it's very, very hard. I'm not in the political world in Islam. I'm not deep down in that, but we all know that it's not easy, and it's easy for us on the outside to give our opinions and to talk about it. But we have to understand that it's a lot harder once you're on the inside and making those decisions to keep the government going, to keep the coalition going. And it's very, very hard. We might not agree on a lot of things, and we might, like, what just happened and why that? But sometimes we have to, I believe, trust the process and see what's how it turns out. We elected officials. If we're not happy with them, the next election we could put our vote in for somebody else, and God willing, see what happens then. But I do believe we have to respect the government, respect, who the democratically elected officials are, and see what happens. And if we're not happy with it, and if you're not happy with it, at the next election, vote for what your heart and mind and what your brain tells you is the right choice then.
I've never been a political person. I'm a people person. I'm an Am Yisrael person. I think that Israel is the people. It's not necessarily the government. That's what holds us together. It's the people. You saw that after October 7th. But then after October 7th, then you start looking at the government, and then I personally was like, I trusted them with our security.
A lot of things have come out since then about the deep state and what was going on, but also throughout Jewish history, we had strong good kings with some kings that took us down the bad path. So have to have governments in place. We do come from the Davidic dynasty. We come from kingdoms. We have to wish for the best right now and, pray for the best, and we'll see what happens. But we all know that, especially in the past X amount of years, has any government been perfect? Are we happy with any government? In America, people love Trump. People don't like Trump. People who even love Trump don't agree on everything he does. Welcome to politics.
It's even worse in the United States, I think.
I don't know. I always said it's worse in Israel.
Yeah, no, but I mean, I've seen the debates on social media about Trump. Like, if you even hint something positive towards Trump.
Oh, it's crazy.
I wanted to get onto a Facebook group, and the Tanaim for getting on the Facebook group was, you can't support Trump.
Seriously?
Yeah.
That's what I spoke about earlier. We have to have mutual respect for each other. You can have your opinion. I can have my opinion. I'm going to respect your opinion. I might not agree with it, but I respect you and your opinion because you're entitled to have your opinion.
What do you think about the Jews who supported Biden? The left.
We had the Erev Rav Jews back in the day. We have the, self-hating Jews of today. Self-hating Jews that they try to wipe away their Jewishness. They want to assimilate. I'm spiritually Jewish. I'm this Jewish. I'm that Jewish. No, you're either Jewish or you're not. And if you're Jewish, you're Jewish. You can't hide it.
You have to take a side.
The world looks at you as a Jew. Okay. They don't look at you, I'm spiritually Jewish, I'm religiously, I'm this. No. They look at you, if you're a Jew, you're a Jew. And when we could admit to ourselves that I'm a Jew, that's one of the first steps. The second step is that, for the most part, my opinion, what I've seen out there, a lot of the Jewish people that have been supporting Biden are in that group to the left, the liberal left, the progressive woke movements that try to brush off their Judaism to assimilate into, whatever group is, whatever the cool club of the day is, going after. But then they saw that everyone turned on them after October 7th with all the pro-Palestinian movements now. Nobody stuck up for October 7th. There were no marches and all these, demonstrations to release the hostages that left side was part of. No. They saw themselves abandoned. They saw themselves abandoned by the groups that they felt so part of for so long. So it's scary. It really is scary.
Listen, I don't know what's going to be, but I'm hoping for only good things.
So am I.
Yeah. I want to thank you so much for coming here today.
Thank you for having me as a guest. This was amazing.
Yeah, it was a real treat for me, and I'm glad that I was your last stop in Eretz Yisrael before you come home and go back to the States, not home.
This is home. Yeah. Israel is home. I truly believe that and feel that Israel is home. Going back to New York for a little bit, but I'll be back very soon.
And you never know. We could be neighbors.
We could be neighbors.
Have you ever looked at Modin?
I've looked at it. Looked at one of the communities. I have. Had friends who moved in here throughout the years. Always heard great things about it. For myself, as an Anglo who speaks English, you have a great Anglo community over here.
Yeah, and
a lot of options.
Pretty safe. Not a lot of sirens here. And BH, this is a really good choice. When I chose a place to live, it was very safe for my kids. Thank God, I was very, very happy here the past almost 30 years.
Amazing.
So, Amir Tashem, we'll see you again soon.
God willing, and thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you. Thank everyone for watching and listening. Am Yisrael Chai.
Am Yisrael Chai.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of The Dayna Show. If you like what you heard, you can subscribe to the podcast, like and share with your friends on social media, and rate us 5 stars. Don't forget to tune in next week, and we'll see you then.